Gombe confirms diphtheria case, calls for vaccination as residents lament indiscriminate dumping of refuse. Police uncover human trafficking syndicate in Kano. President Tinubu presides over First Council of State meeting, approves 300% pay rise for judicial officers. On the foreign scene, death toll from Uganda garbage landslide rises to 25. Good evening and welcome to the news update on Trust Television. I am Aisha Salihu. Thanks for joining us, and now the news in detail. The Gombe State Commissioner of Health, Dr. Habu Dahiru, has announced that the State Public Health Emergency Operations Center has been placed on alert following a confirmed and suspected cases of diphtheria in Ghana ward. Dahiru disclosed that the state has recorded 3 suspected cases and 1 confirmed case of diphtheria. He confirmed the availability of vaccines for diphtheria prevention, especially for children, at primary healthcare centers across Gombe State, and urged parents and guardians to ensure prompt vaccination of their children to safeguard them from the potentially fatal disease. The commissioner called for heightened awareness and proactive measures to contain the spread of diphtheria in the affected areas. He said the confirmed case indicated that the affected child had not been immunized against diphtheria, pertussis and tetanus, which come together in one vaccine, preventable through the pentavalent vaccine administered 3 times to protect against childhood killer diseases. The indiscriminate dumping of refuse into water channels has been identified as one of the factors contributing to environmental hazards. The act, according to residents, is causing environmental problems like flooding and, by extension, disease outbreaks in Gombe. Residents are, however, urging the state government to identify such people and make them face the wrath of the law to serve as a deterrent to others. Hassan Koli has more.
Dumping of refuse into water channels have for a long time been among the most contributing factors to environmental hazards. Despite numerous efforts to inform people about its negative impact, as well as the contribution of waste collection centers in Gombe metropolitan area, some people continue to dump refuse into drainages. For me, a lot of people are used to doing this without knowing it is risks. People must desist from dumping refuse in drainages to avert further consequences. Let the government intensify its orientation campaign so that the issue will be dealt with. Refuse dumping in water drainages not affect the person who did it. It also affects the community too, which is taboo because it is against our religion and culture to harm your neighbor. And when one dumps refuse on drainage, it will block waterways, resulting in flooding and disease outbreaks, especially during the rainy season. Therefore, I urge people to dispose their refuse at government-approved sites. With the state forecasted to experience flood this year, the Gombe State government says it will ensure that all violators of environmental laws are severely punished, since it has already provided waste collection centers in the metropolitan area.
We must call the attention of the public to make sure that the disease from taking waste to the drainages and to stop this open defecation in an area where, so for instance, mostly, so we go on engaging them, sensitizing them to stop this, and this is the penalty. Looking at the scenario and looking at the situation and the economic realities in the country, we decided to be flexible in the payment of these penalties, because we need to make sure that we penalize somebody that no matter the gravity of the offense, we penalize it in according to how affordable the money will be, and we send you to the area revenue for payment. When you pay, you come back and present the receipt to us. Then we'll go to the security agencies for proper documentation and for an agreement between you and me that you will stop it henceforth.
According to environmental experts, inappropriate refuse dumping is among the contributing factors to environmental degradation. From Gombe, Hassan Koli reporting for Trust TV.
The Kano Zonal Command of the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons has received 12 rescued victims of human trafficking. The agency's zonal commander, Abdullahi Babale, stated this on Tuesday in Kano, while receiving the victims rescued by the Kano State Police Command. Babale said the state police arrested 3 suspects, Shafiu Salisu, 25, Rebecca Adebayo, 22, and Mujibat Olagoke, 27, in connection with the trafficking. The victims were rescued along Sanyawa Federal Highway, Kano, by a team of policemen attached to Sanyawa Division on their way to Libya for labor exploitation. The zonal commander appreciated the Kano State Commissioner of Police, Salman Dogo Garba, for his cooperation, while assuring that the suspects would be charged to court upon completion of investigation. He called on parents to protect their children from being exploited and lured into slavery in the name of seeking greener pastures. Babale urged the public to report any suspicious cases of human traffickers and trafficking in their respective communities to appropriate authorities for prompt action. 3 people have been confirmed killed by flood, while houses, farmlands and other valuables worth billions of naira were washed away by heavy downpour that lasted for 3 days in villages and communities across 3 local government areas of Bauchi State. The Director General of the State Emergency Management Agency in Bauchi, Masood Aliyu, who gave the confirmation during the assessment and sympathy visit to affected communities of the state, government delegations led by Secretary to the State Government, Barrister Ibrahim Kashim. Aliyu further disclosed that the flood has also displaced thousands of people and rendered them homeless, with means of livelihood, domestic animals and farmlands destroyed in the 3 local government areas of Katagum, Shira and Giade. The committee visited Giade local government area to assess the damage caused by the flood, particularly the Giade-Shira portion of the highway, which was completely washed away, rendering it impassable. The team also inspected the Giade-Azare State Road, the Azare-Jamare Federal Dual Carriage portion of the Kano-Meduguri Expressway, also cut off. The committee thereafter presented relief materials to flood victims across 3 local government areas. Stakeholders in the education sector has raised concerns over the rise in the number of students dropping out of schools in the southwest states of Osun, Oyo, Ogun, Ondo, Ekiti and Lagos. While teenage pregnancy was identified as major driver of school dropout among girls in the region, financial constraints is said to be inhibiting boys from poor homes from completing their education. Hamido Yegbade files in this report.
Every year, a large number of students drop out of school worldwide, with Nigeria having its fair share. According to the Multiple Indicator Cluster Survey conducted by the National Bureau of Statistics, in the southwest states of Osun, Oyo, Ogun, Ondo, Ekiti and Lagos, about 60% complete primary school, but the transition rate into secondary school is less than 50%. The school completion rate in the southwest is 92.6% for primary school, 85.3% for the lower secondary school, and 72.9% at the upper secondary school.
However, the main issue is those children that are in school, are they being retained? Are they learning? or are they completing and or transiting from one grade to the other, or from one level of education to the other?
Based on our own data by the Ministry of Economic Planning in Lagos State, we have well over 4.5 children out of school in Lagos State. And don't forget, every day people come all over Nigeria, coming to Lagos without going back, most especially the children.
However, a number of maybe strategies should be used, because it cannot be just one approach, and it will vary from state to state, depending on what the peculiarity is in that state.
Meanwhile, stakeholders in the education sector from the 6 states have come together to find a lasting solution to the menace.
The focus is to support the 6 states within the zone to develop a model that they can use in their states to address the key drivers of dropout, to ensure that every child who enrolls in school actually moves from one level to another and is able to complete secondary education in a progressive progression that shows that this child actually stays in school.
The government needs to be very intentional, in addressing these issues of out of school, and then addressing education quality as well. What it means is that government must intentionally invest more in teacher training. Government must invest more in infrastructure. Government must invest more in data. Government must also invest more in the area of supervision and quality assurance.
The stakeholders said they are committed to efforts that will ensure that no child is left behind in education. Amid Ojegbade, Trust TV News, Oshogbo.
Governor Uba Sani of Kaduna State has lifted the 6 p.m. to 8 a.m. curfew imposed in the state to checkmate the breakdown of law and order during the End Bad Governance protest. In a statement, overseeing Commissioner, Ministry of Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Arwan, said the removal is effective from Tuesday. He explained that with these developments, law-abiding citizens are free to move and engage in legitimate activities in Kaduna and Zaria towns with no restriction. He said the State Security Council, during the extensive assessment held last night, unanimously recommended the removal of the curfew and reiterated its commitment to the security and safety of the citizenry in the state. The Security Council also warned that processions or gatherings must be verified with the relevant agencies to avoid any breakdown of law and order. Arwan said the council further disclosed that security forces will continue to be on the lookout for threats to public peace and will prosecute persons or groups posing such threats. The governor assured critical stakeholders of his inclusive and participatory stance, adding that he would continue to engage them towards ensuring the peace, unity, and development of the state. President Bola Tinubu on Tuesday presided over the Council of State meeting at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. Among those present were former Presidents Muhammadu Buhari and Goodluck Jonathan. Former Presidents Yakubu Gowon and Abdul Salami Abubakar also joined the meeting virtually. The meeting of the National Council of State is always held to advise the President on policy decisions and other matters that the sitting President might put before them. Members of the Council are the President, Vice President, former Presidents and heads of states, the Senate President, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, State Governors, the Speaker of the House of Representatives and the Attorney General of the Federation. Tuesday's meeting, the first to be put together by the present administration, comes days after some Nigerians took to the street to protest against the prevailing hardship and economic policies of the present administration. Some of the protesters asked the federal government to reverse removal of fuel subsidy. Ex-President Olusegun Obasanjo, who said the demands of the protesters are legitimate, did not attend the meeting. Also, President Bola Tinubu has signed a bill for an act to prescribe the salaries allowances and fringe benefits of judicial office holders in Nigeria and for related matters into law. This was disclosed in a statement on Tuesday by the Special Advisor to the President on Senate Matters, Bashir Lado. Recall that the National Assembly had passed an executive bill transmitted to it by President Tinubu to increase the salaries of judicial officers by 300% in June this year. In a statement, Lado described the signing of the bill by the President as a landmark achievement and a manifestation of his unwavering commitment to the welfare of Nigeria's workforce. The federal lawmaker also urged judicial office holders in the country to redouble their efforts in ensuring that justice is served speedily. You're watching the news update on Trust Television. Still to come. Benue youth adopt community service to improve infrastructure. We'll bring you more news on return. Do stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the news update on Trust Television. Now let's have another look at some of our top stories. Gombe confirms diphtheria case, calls for vaccination as residents lament indiscriminate dumping of refuse. Police uncover human trafficking syndicate in Kano State. And now moving on to more stories. Nigerians have long been accustomed to a culture of entitlement, often focused on what citizens can gain from the system. However, this mindset is gradually shifting in Makurdi, the capital of Benue State, where youth are now taking proactive steps to provide services traditionally expected from the government, viewing it as a form of community service. Jimmy Azande tells us more.
One of the significant challenges facing Makurdi as an urban center is its poor road network. Underdevelopment and inadequate planning have rendered certain streets impassable during the rainy season, hindering vehicular movement. In response, a new movement has emerged where youth in various communities are stepping up to take responsibility for fixing their streets, viewing it as a collective duty to improve their neighborhoods.
As youth, we also have impact in the society, not just for other social or other things, activities to do, but can also try to make sure that our community are safe, our roads are good, and maybe other things also are good for people to kind of like maze of them. But once our roads and our street are safe, it's been a while here, you see there's erosion. If you look around, there's erosion. So we are trying to try to fill in the potholes and the places that have washed so that cars and bikes can also pass.
Many blame town planners and developers for the unchecked construction of buildings, which they say is contributing to the persistent flooding in parts of Makurdi.
If you look at it, there are no drainages. And from the way they are built, I don't see any possibility of, they do not even have any intention of constructing drainages. And without that is because of erosion. That's why they always get this. So if there were some kind of like drainage canals, then we wouldn't have had this kind of issue in this place now.
The recent dry spell has motivated local youth to take action and improve their road network. They argue that it is a necessity as the residents are the primary beneficiaries.
Community members don't come out again because they leave the whole work for the government to come to their community and do those access roads. And as you can see, if the government does not visit your place for over years, maybe like 10, 8 days, the whole place will be dilapidated with gullies and everything. And you discover that even your fence will no longer be seen. But the government can't come to your community and do all those things for you because it will not affect them, it is affecting us. And you can see this thing is affecting us in such a way that cars cannot come in.
Governor Hyacinth Elia has pledged to repair the streets of Makurdi. While construction is underway in some parts of the town, youth in flood-prone areas are taking matters into their own hands, creating makeshift roads to keep their communities accessible. Jimmy Azande, Trust TV News, Makurdi.
The Comptroller General of the Nigeria Customs Service, Bashir Adeniyi, has stressed the importance of regional cooperation in fostering international trade in the West Central Africa region, which is battling issues of security at its borders. Adeniyi made the remark at the handing over of the World Customs Organization West Central Africa Vice Chair to his successor from Mali. He charged the new Vice Chair to do more to have a stronger West Central Africa region.
All our customs administrations are challenged by issues of fragile borders and insecurity. So we're now faced with the challenge of working with other security agencies to ensure our national security.
Donc il est nécessaire de travailler toujours avec d'autres bureaux qui sont en charge de renforcement de sécurité.
So this is what we all face in our region, and we have regular platforms, we have regular meetings, we have activities where we discuss these problems and provide solutions to them.
Nos objectifs communs avec professionnalisme en vue de pouvoir réaliser notre vision commune qui est de faire de notre région l'une des plus enviables des régions de l'OMD.
Our commitment is to continue the momentum of our predecessor by strengthening our organization, by promoting our common objectives with professionalism in order to be able to achieve our common vision, which is to make our region one of the most enviable of the WCO regions.
President Bola Tinubu will on Wednesday, August 14, depart Abuja for Malabo, Equatorial Guinea on a 3-day official visit to honor the invitation of President Teodoro Obiang Nguema Mbasogo. Special advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Ajurin Galale, in a statement, said President Tinubu is expected to meet with the Equatorial Guinean President at the presidential villa on arrival, where meetings will be held between the two leaders and agreements, particularly on oil and gas and security, signed. According to him, the president will be accompanied on the trip by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Tugar, and other members of his cabinet, who will be involved in the signing of agreements and review of opportunities to improve bilateral relations. Away from Nigeria, the death toll from a mountain of garbage that collapsed in Kampala has risen to 25, with no hope of finding survivors, a minister said on Tuesday. The huge mound in the Ugandan capital's northern district of Kitezi collapsed on Saturday, burying people and livestock. Heavy rain has hampered the rescue effort as excavators churned through the garbage. President Yoweri Museveni directed the Army Special Forces to help in the search. A 200-meter buffer zone has been created around the site, with residents ordered to vacate. The 36-acre landfill was established in 1996, according to local media, and takes in almost all garbage collected across Kampala, about 1,500 tons a day. Kampala Mayor Arias Lukwago said authorities were looking for alternative dumping sites because of the closure of the Kitezi landfill. And in sports, Cole Palmer has signed a new Chelsea contract to extend his stay at Stamford Bridge until 2033. The 22-year-old attacking midfielder is now on a 9-year deal with improved terms after a sensational breakthrough season in West London. Palmer scored 25 goals and contributed 15 assists in 45 appearances during his first season at Chelsea, after a £42.5 million move from Manchester City last summer. The Blues have been keen to reward the England international who scored in the 2-1 Euro 2024 final defeat by Spain in July, with a deal which will be announced in the coming days. Palmer is on the shortlist for the PFA Player and Young Player of the Year awards to be announced in Salford next week, and claimed the Premier League Young Player of the Season award for 2023-2024. The Blues face Manchester City on the opening day of the Premier League season on Sunday, with manager Enzo Maresca opening his campaign against his former employers. where he won the treble in 2022-2023 as assistant to Pep Guardiola. And that wraps up the news update at this hour on Trust Television. Do not forget, you can always follow us across all of our social media platforms and also join our YouTube live stream for more news, programs and documentary. I'm Aisha Salihu. Thank you so much for watching.